It's eclipse season. We just went through a lunar eclipse and now December has a solar eclipse coming up. That's what we talk about today. Hello everybody, I'm Tina Chaudhary. Welcome to my channel and a very warm namaste. First things first, I want to wish everybody a very, very happy Thanksgiving. It's a wonderful time of the year where we thank everybody that's in our lives and everything that we have in our lives, that we thank them for being in our lives. Regardless of what you have or what you don't have, it's not the time to focus on the negative. It's time to focus on the positive and thank everybody that's ever done something for you, or not even. And so make sure you remember to thank everybody that's in your life that's given you any love, support, or anything else. One of the other things you have to do is make sure you thank nature and divinity for giving you all these beautiful blessings. I'm sitting here in nature and it's such a beautiful feeling to sit here. So make sure you remember to thank nature and divinity for everything that it gives us. So today we're going to talk about the eclipses. So the lunar eclipse just passed a few days ago on November 19th. And now the next eclipse is on December 4th, and it's the solar eclipse. So the eclipses always happen 2 weeks apart. So the solar eclipse is on December 4th, and it's happening in the zodiac of Scorpio and under the nakshatra of Anuradha. So let's take the significations of all these and kind of make a prediction on what we can expect, what the impact of this solar eclipse is going to be on the world and all of us. So the sun, which is the solar eclipse, is obviously caused by the sun. The sun represents our soul, our ego, our father, and it also represents the heads of, government, the rulers of countries, or the high-level government officials. In back in the old days, it used to be the king, but we don't have any kings right now, so the kings don't rule the countries. It's the government officials that rule the countries. So it rules the the high-level government officials and rulers of the countries. So that's what the sun represents. Scorpio is the 8th zodiac sign of all the 12 signs. So it rules the things that are hidden. It's also ruled by Mars, so it's very action-oriented zodiac. So it rules hidden. So the Scorpio ascendants, or if you have a moon in Scorpio, these are the people that are sort of secretive in nature. They don't like to share everything about themselves. Even when they're having a conversation, they're giving you information, they tend to withhold a lot of information. They'll only give you little bits and pieces of it, and the main part of it sometimes they hold and they don't even tell you. So Scorpio represents hidden things and a lot of action. So they're action oriented. They'll do a lot of things, and they're not very sharing with information. So it's a lot of secret information. The constellation of nakshatra of Anuradha, is very important in this prediction. So nakshatra Anuradha is ruled, the name suggests Radha. So a lot of Hindus would know that Radha was the consort of Lord Krishna. Now they were not married to each other. And Lord Krishna was actually married to, somebody else. He had a wife, but, he had this true love. It's considered true love between Radha and Krishna. So Anuradha rules true love and relationships that are not with your marital partner, but true love relationships. So I'm going to give out a secret today. So a lot of people that have their moon, their constellation, they were born under the nakshatra of Anuradha, have these two traits. One, they always have a karmic three-way relationship in their life. And I'm not talking about high school crushes and stuff like that. I'm talking about in their adult life. They always get into a very karmic, deep relationship that's three-way, where one partner might be married. And hence they cannot attain that partner. But they pine for that partner all their life because that relationship is karmic, and it's from their soul. There's maybe twin souls. They could be, related from past birth, but they're, soul partners. And the other thing about the Anuradha nakshatra people is that they have relationship issues with their mother, because Lord Krishna was separated from his mother the minute he was born, and he had to be brought up by another lady that, gave him enough love, but not his real mother. So this is the secret of Anuradha nakshatra, is that, you have relationship issues with your mother, and then you get into this karmic three relationship. So that's the secret of Anuradha nakshatra, that shows that if you're a Scorpio ascendant and you're born in Anuradha, you might have these issues for your in your life. That's the just so you know, if you're thinking you're Scorpio moon, your moon has to be placed in Scorpio as well to be born in Anuradha Nakshatra. So that's what Anuradha Nakshatra, represents. Relationship issues with somebody that you love very deeply and with your mother. So when the solar eclipse happens in Scorpio, in the nakshatra of Anuradha, and the sun represents our ego, and you put that together, that's what you're going to really get, is where you get ego clashes with your mother. It could be relationship issues with your mother. That's what the solar eclipse could result in. Relationship issues with your mother. It could be a severe ego clashes with somebody that you really love, karmic relationships. And I'm not talking marital relationships, because Anuradha doesn't represent your marital relationship. It represents somebody that you love deeply. Also, I'm going to give a general prediction of the world, but at a personal level, it's cautioning us, this solar eclipse cautions us to watch our ego with people that we love. Okay? So that's the caution I'm going to give out to all my ascendants, is don't let ego come in between your loved ones. So the other thing that I did forget to kind of neglect to mention is that the solar eclipse is happening in Scorpio, and when Sun is in Scorpio, Ketu has been there, or South Node has been there for longer than a year, and that's where the eclipse is happening. So the Sun meets Ketu. So we need to really talk about Ketu for a minute. Ketu is the South Node, and it doesn't have a head, and it's a virtual planet. So I've talked about Ketu so many times in my previous videos. I'm not going to repeat it, but Ketu is a headless planet. It's also not really a planet. It's a virtual planet. It's the shadow of the moon, the south shadow of the moon. So Sun meets Ketu, and Ketu is very headless, and the Sun is ego. So when the two clash, what happens is that our ego starts to clash with people very headlessly without thinking. So Ketu does things very suddenly without thinking. That's the result of Ketu. We start to do things without thinking because Ketu is headless, so we don't use our head or our brain, and we start to use our ego when the Sun is there and start to clash with people without thinking. So this is the effect of the solar eclipse, and that's what I'm going to warn all my ascendants, to make sure you don't start clashing, ego clashes without thinking. Think through things. Don't just start talking and taking action. Mars is involved. Don't start taking action against people that you love in your career without thinking. In fact, don't even take any action, because it will all be without thinking. You'll think that you've thought through it, and you really haven't, because you're under the influence of Ketu, and Ketu's headless. So my caution to all the ascendants is, please don't do anything. Just kind of lay low, let the solar eclipse, the effect pass, and then later, after a month or so, when the main effect of the solar eclipse has passed, is a good time to take action, especially in relationships and career related matters. Before I move on with predictions, I just want to let you know that my predictions are based on your ascendant or your rising sign. They are not based on your sun sign or the signs that you see in magazines. This is based on your ascendant sign. If you're not sure of your ascendant sign, you can give me your time of birth, date of birth, and place of birth, and then I can let you know what your ascendant sign is, so you can always listen to the correct ascendant predictions. You can either put that in the comments, or my email is on the screen, and you can send me an email if you don't want to put it in my comments. And let me remind you, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. And if you like the video, give me a like and share it with friends and family. First sign is Aries. Aries sun is your 5th lord, and it's going in the 8th house. So the 8th house is sudden events. Something sudden could happen. Also, it's going to give you a lot of indecisiveness. So try not to make any decisions regarding anything important in your life. It's going to be a very indecisive time for you. Again, sudden events that could relate to your health, especially with skin issues or something beneath your stomach, something with your bowels, lower bowels also. So take good care of your health, take good care of what you eat. Also, because it's your 5th lord, and the 5th house rules children and love relationships. So I've already actually said something about love relationships. Don't let any ego clashes come between your relationships with your children and your loved ones. By loved ones, I mean your love relationships, like your boyfriend, girlfriend, those kind of relationships. Take very good care of your health. Like I said, watch what you eat, and also don't make any decisions. So there could be sudden events relating to career or your love relationships right now. So make sure you take very good care of your relationships and don't let ego get in the way of anything that you do right now. Taurus, this is your fourth lord. Sun is your fourth lord, and it's going in your seventh house. Now, the seventh house rules businesses, your partnership with your businesses, and your marital partner as well. Now, this is a very good time for income. So it's a good time for income, and also a good time for business. If you have your own business, it's a good time for income. But one of the things that you have to watch for is, the lunar eclipse was in Taurus. So it's kind of given you the irritability from the lunar eclipse. So now the sun can cause a little bit of irritability plus the ego. So make sure that you stay very patient with everybody. And otherwise, it's a good time. But it's going to give you mood swings. That's the only thing you have to watch out for, is mood swings. Don't let the mood swings get in the way of relationships. Also, take very good care of what you say to people. Don't gossip. Don't spread things. That's going to land you in trouble. So just kind of keep your mouth closed, stay down, keep your head down, work hard, but and stay out of trouble from what you're saying, what you're speaking to people, how you're talking to people. The communication is going to be very key right now, and especially gossiping and spreading news. That's going to be a problem if you start getting to that. Otherwise, it's a good time for your business. It's also a good time for income. So make sure you, like I said, stay out of trouble. Just keep your head down and don't get into ego clashes, especially with your mother as well, because the fourth house rules your mom. So make sure you tell her you love her and don't get into any ego clashes with anybody, and keep your irritability under control. Gemini, this is sun is your third lord, and it's going to the sixth house. So one of the great things that Gemini is going to see right now is that you're going to have to put in a lot of effort. This is a hardworking time for you. The sun's going to make you work really, really hard. The third house denotes hard work, effort, and self-effort, and also devoted to something that you want. And it's going to give you very good rewards. So the sixth house is work related stuff, at your workplace. So if you work hard, you're going to get good rewards, and it's a good time for that. But one of the things you have to do is take good care of your health. So especially the shoulder area, your arms, your hands, so that's the part that you need to watch out for. Don't get cuts or anything like that. Don't get hurt in your shoulders area and stuff like that. So make sure you take good care of your health. Also, one of the things you have to do is take good care of what you eat, so it can make you sick. But again, it's more getting hurt in the shoulders and arms area. So make sure you take good care of that. And also, you have to watch your communication. The third house is communication and what you say to people. Watch your communication, especially at work. If you're at work, you need to watch your communication at work. You could get very egoistic and very self-confident, because you'll be very self-confident, but then taking it to overconfidence and telling people off. Watch against that. Cancer. Sun is your second lord, and it's going in the fifth house. So the second house rules money. It also rules income and savings. So it's a good time for that. And also the fifth house is your ideas at your workplace. So, good ideas, ways to do, new ways to do something. So you might be very well rewarded and recognized for something that you do, new ways to do something. So that's good. You might be recognized for that also. But the problem is going to be the fifth house also rules your children, and so there's going to be a little bit of an ego clash, maybe challenges dealing with children at home, and so that's what you need to watch out for. Don't get into it with them. And your children also might have issues with getting along with others, so you might have children issues and getting along with children at this time. So that's what you need to watch out for. If you're in a love relationship, boyfriends, girlfriends, you may get into ego clashes with them as well. So make sure you watch for that. Don't be egoistic too much. Watch your communication. So the second house rules communication also. So you need to make sure you watch your communications very cordial at that time, or the love relationships could break. So make sure you watch for what you say, how you say it to children and love relationships. The other thing you have to watch out for, the second house rules the food you eat. Make sure that the food you eat is very good, very clean. Otherwise, the fifth house relates to your stomach, so you could also end up getting a little sick, a little unhealthy. So make sure take good care of what you're eating, the food you're eating. Try to eat very, very healthy. Otherwise, you might have a little bit of stomach issues. Otherwise, it's a good idea to put very creative ideas in practice and get some recognition for it. Just let that recognition not go to your head. Leo, the sun is your ascendant lord, so and that's going to be in an eclipse issue with Ketu, or the south node, in the fourth house. And the fourth house relates to domestic bliss, domestic happiness. And the effects of the eclipse might have already started happening. And when the eclipse happens in your fourth house, it relates to a little bit of stress and frustration at home relating to monetary issues, because the eclipse is happening Anuradha is ruled by Saturn, so it's more financial in nature. Stress and frustration related to career, finance, and stuff like that, and the fact that maybe your expenses have been too high, your income has been too low, or stuff like that. So this is also going to cause some stress and frustration at this time. You might have some clashes with your partner at this time as well, but let this time pass. So one of the things that you can do to alleviate this the stressful and the frustration energy is Ketu. It relates to spirituality. So do spiritual meditation, do spiritual sadhana or chanting, whenever you feel like it, anytime during the day, and any mantra that you really like to do. But Ketu relates to Ganpati. So Om Ganpati Nama, or any Ganesh mantra that you want to do during the day, is very good for alleviating the stress in the household, especially because sun eclipse in the fourth house is like I said, it's a challenging situation. So doing some Ganpati mantra at home during the day, whenever you feel like it, is very stress relieving, and it's actually beneficial for the home as well. So that's what I can guide you with. It's an eclipse season, it'll pass, and then you'll just go through this stress. It's a short time, you'll get over it. But in the meantime, the remedy is to do Ganpati chanting. Virgo, the sun is your 12th lord, and it's going into the third house. So when the 12th and the third combination is a dead giveaway that there's going to be some short travels in store for you. The third house also represents a lot of dedicated hard work and self-effort. So you're going to definitely be having to put in a lot of hard work and self-effort, but you're going to get very well rewarded for it. And the rewards are probably going to be financial, but a lot of good recognition is in store for you, because it's the sun represents recognition more than it represents financial gains. So make sure you put good self-effort, good hard work and dedication to whatever it is that you're doing, and you're going to get very well recognized for it. Now make sure that your communication at all times when you're doing this or working in anywhere is very non-egoistic and not bossy, but very pleasant and cordial. And that's the only warning caution that I can give you, is that the sun always tries to give you very bossy communication and telling people what to do rather than requesting people what to do. So that if you can keep that in mind, the request or the recognition and the rewards are going to be great, as long as you can keep your ego in check and your anger and your fiery nature in communication in check. Otherwise, it's a good time for recognition. The third house represents siblings and neighbors, so definitely you might spend a good time with them, or enjoy with them, or spend on them, because the 12th house means spending. So you might have to spend on them, or actually have a good time with them as well. Libra, the sun is your 11th lord, and it's going in your second house. Now the 11th and the second house are the absolute favorite of most people, because the 11th house represents gains, wishes and desire fulfillment, and the second house represents finance, savings, money, income, all the good things, right? So this is a good time where you might actually get your desires fulfilled. If there's something that you were waiting for a long time, you might actually get that. And if it relates to money, or if it relates to position at work, it actually might be a good time to do that also. But there's a remedy that you have to do. And what is that? The 11th house represents network, your group of friends, or influential people in your social circle, or within the network of people that you know. You might have to, so the way to get that is you need to reach into your network of people or influential people, whoever you know, and reach into them and ask them if they can help you. And you know what? They will help you right now. So if you reach into your network or contact somebody that's very influential, you might actually, and ask them what the help that you need, you might actually get the help, because the sun is help influential people also, so they might actually get your desire fulfillment or get what you want. The other thing that I'm really going to have to caution you about is the second house represents your speech, and so you're going to have very egoistic speech, very self-confident speech, and that's going to actually completely ruin this desire fulfillment for you. So you need to watch how you're speaking to people, how you handle your ego, and it's the ego is going to get in the way of your desire fulfillment. So as long as you keep your communication very cordial, very nice, very definitely non-egoistic and non-fiery, you may achieve what you are looking to achieve. Scorpio, sun has now moved into your ascendant lord in the first house, and the eclipse is going to happen there. Now you guys have had the south node or Ketu in your ascendant house for a very long time, which has wanted to give you solitude and privacy. You don't want to meet anybody, and now sun moves in there and it battles with the ego. It enhances your ego, although on the one hand it enhances your self-esteem and your self-image and self-confidence, also brings out the ego that's within you. And so, because sun represents ego, and so now you're going to deal with everybody, not just with the self-confidence, but it's now your ego is going to come in and burn relationships. So one of the things I have to caution you about is that even though you've had a very good career because of Rahu sitting in your seventh house, you've had a very good career, you've had very good income in the last 1 year because of the effects of Rahu, the 1-7 axis of the south nodes. Sun in your first house is going to cause sudden events and also events that relate to your ego. So you might want to make hasty decisions, and I'm cautioning you against that, because this is a period of indecisiveness and you shouldn't be making any hasty decisions, because these decisions will be fueled by the ego within you. And the fact that this is not a good ego, it's sometimes our ego is good and it gives us good decisions to make, but this is not a good time for your ego to be making the decisions. So if you want to make hasty, or you're tempted to make hasty decisions, I would say not to do that right now. I'd say wait for a month or two and then think about it. Because why would I say that? Because Ketu or south node is a headless planet. It only has a body, it doesn't have a head. So you need to be very cautious, because you might think that you're thinking through these and that's why the decision's being made, but it's actually the decisions are being made very headlessly without thinking. Even though they kind of give you the impression that you've thought through them, you actually haven't thought through them. And the only thing that's fueling the decision is your ego. So I just kind of caution you out there and say, don't make any major life decisions to do or not do things, because they're all fueled by ego. And especially related to career, you might be tempted to make sudden decisions, and I would say to just kind of not do them right now and kind of delay the decision making for a while. One of the things I'm going to caution you about is that you've probably already burned some bridges with a love relationship or with your mother, because that's the effect of the solar eclipse and the fact that Ketu already has been in your ascendant lord for a very long time. So you need to watch and think about whether you want to do that, because this can be damaging for the rest of your life. So if the effect has already started in your life, you might want to think about that. And also don't do any more hasty decisions with the effect of the solar eclipse is going to get enhanced. The other thing is, don't do anything risky, because ascendant house rules your head. So you might have some fever, you might have headaches, and you might also get hurt in some way at your head. So don't do anything risky. Stay out of risky situations and take good care of your health as far as headaches and fevers is concerned. Otherwise, income, it's a very good time for income. But again, I'm cautioning you to keep that ego in check. Sagittarius, the sun is your 9th lord and it's going in your 12th house. So one of the things that it could do is probably give you some long distance travel. So or you could plan for it. Definitely, you could certainly be planning for long distance travel or spending money buying the tickets. Even if you don't do it now, you may do it in the near future or in the next few months. The effect of the solar eclipse lasts for a while, but you may be planning a long distance trip for the future. One of the things that it's also going to give you, because the 10th house is the house of expenses, not only financial expenses, but emotionally you may feel very spent, expensive, low on energy and emotionally exhausting. So, kind of watch for that a little bit. And then if somebody's dealing with foreign, the 12th house relates to foreign things. So if you're in the business of dealing with foreign entities, foreign businesses, or something like that, it's a really, really good time for that. So you're very lucky if you're doing something like that. Your luck will be on your side as far as that's concerned. Now, one of the things you have to watch for is the ninth house rules your father, and so you have to take very, very good care of your relationship with your father. Don't get into a clash with him, especially an ego clash with him. One of the remedies that I can suggest to you if you feel very low on energy and low on self-confidence is to do meditation, because the ninth house relates to the divine, to your religion, and doing some meditation or some divine practice, praying to the divine, if that's what you choose to do, is very helpful when the ninth house is involved. Capricorn, the sun is your 8th lord. It's going in your 11th house. So the 8th lord indicates sudden events, sudden changes, sudden news, something that you didn't expect to happen. And the 11th house is gains. So you actually might get some sudden news, sudden unexpected news, or even sudden gains that, financial gains it could be, that you didn't think you were getting, or, you weren't expecting. One of the things I have to caution you is luck is not going to be on your side. The 8th house is a challenging house, and it actually negates good luck. So don't play the stock market. Don't gamble. So don't do things like that. Don't test your luck, I should say, right at this time. Don't do that. It doesn't represent or doesn't give good results at this time. So just kind of watch that. Also, the 8th house suggests don't make any decisions regarding major life events. You should not do that for at least a month, especially money related decisions, like don't make changes to your stock portfolio or your investments. This is not a good time for that. You can delay that for a little while. Otherwise, it's an okay time, because the 11th house is involved. It's actually, even though the 8th house is normally challenging, but because it's activating your 11th house, which is your network, friends, gains, wish fulfillment, it's going to be an okay time, but don't test your luck at this time. Also, make sure you take good care of your health. The 8th house sometimes gives you unexpected health issues also, so make sure you take very good care of your health and don't take chances with it. Don't do anything risky. If you haven't worked out for a long time, don't start working out and take risks with your body like that. So make sure you don't do anything risky. Aquarius, sun is your 7th lord, and it's going in your 3rd house. Now, this is a good time for Aquarius people. I know Aquarius people haven't had a good time in a long time. So the 7th house is your spouse, and it also represents your business and your public image. So this is going to be a good time for your social standing, your public image, and also because this represents your spouse, it's also going to be a good time for your spouse to get recognition, or they actually might be doing a lot of hard work and getting good recognition from that as well. So it's actually a lucky time for your spouse as well. Now, like I said, it's a good time for public image. It's also a good time for you in your career. So it's a good time for career, although it's going to be a very, very hard working time for you. You might find yourself working very hard, but you also might find that you're getting the rewards for your working hard. So it's a good time for Aquarius people. The sun represents the spouse for an Aquarius, but going in the 3rd house, it activates the luck of the spouse. So it's a good time for Aquarius people. The only thing I warn the Aquarius people at this time is the sun actually gives them ego clashes with their marital partner. So you have to watch for your ego not getting in the way of your relationships and communication. Also, ego with people at work. So make sure people in business, make sure you don't get your ego and egoistic, communication and bossy communication with people, with your spouse and other people at work. Otherwise, it's a good time for Aquarius, as long as you watch your attitude, egoistic attitude, and your bossy, attitude. Things will be good for Aquarius people. Pisces, the sun is your 6th lord, and it's going in the 9th house. So this is a time when you're going to have to work really, really hard, but you might see the results of your hard work finally now. I know I've been saying it in the past, the Pisces has to work really hard, but you'll see the results of your hard work at work. You'll see them now. This also means that if you're looking for loans from somebody that, in the past, you might get the loans. If you're looking for favors from the government, this is a good time, like favors meaning getting loans, money from the government. This is a good time, and you'll get that now. The one thing I should caution you about is if somebody comes to you for a loan, which might happen, and if you give out that loan, you're not going to get it back. So only give out the loan if you are okay with not getting it back at this time. I also see for Pisces people some long distance travel or travel regarding work involved. That's the 9th house, relates to travel. So you might be traveling for work related matters. One of the issues that I have to caution you against is some ego clashes with your father. The 9th house relates to your father, and so there may be ego or clashes or relationship issues with your father. So make sure you stay good with him, tell him you love him, and don't get into a battle with him. For people that are looking for relocation, it might be possible at this time, or you might start thinking about relocation at this time also. This brings me to the end of my video. Hopefully you like it. If you like it, please share it with friends and family.